In this video, we're going to discuss our experience at the Powerful Living Experience by David Bayer. The event was hosted in Austin at the Kalahari Resort, which is amazing if you're ever going to take your kids. They have a cool arcade. They had so many things to do for kids, but we were in this resort for 3 days straight. Each event was like from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And I'd have to say that they packed a lot of information into those 3 days. What do you think?
Yeah, a whole lot. 9 a.m. I think that started to like 10:30. So, and with an hour break for lunch and dinner. So it's a lot.
What were your expectations going in, if you had any?
I wasn't, I think, ready, like the whole, my expectations actually were to just like sit and listen, which that happened a lot. But I wasn't expecting to, actually interact with other people. Like with the, the whole thing was like a little.
She doesn't like people.
In the beginning, it was just uncomfortable for me. I love people. You just like, when you kind of like, you love people, but interacting with them sometimes it's like
out of your comfort zone?
Exactly.
Right, which is pretty much what the Powerful Living Experience is about, getting out of your comfort zone, because we find ourselves with these lives that we live every day the same, and we're comfortable in that life, but it's not as fulfilling as we want our lives to be. So by going to this event, you're able to kind of take an evaluation of your life overall and change your ordinary life into a powerful living experience. So what David does is he kind of allows you to understand the combination of psychology, neuroscience, and spirituality.
Yeah.
And how they all mix in together. Because you've seen a lot of spiritual videos about just manifesting what you want, but you still don't change. So there's certain formulas that you have to use in order to get your mind to actually change, because your mind is adaptable to your thinking.
Yeah, which we don't know unless you actually go to one of these things and then you learn this stuff.
Well, you kind of have a feeling.
You have a feeling, but you don't know how to express it. You don't know how to.
Well, that's part of what we learned.
Yeah.
Is the two states of being.
Yeah.
There's a power. Go ahead.
Our primal state and our powerful state. Primal state says that, when you're in low vibration, you have negative thoughts, you are jealous, you are insecure, you're ungrateful, and then you have your powerful state where you are happy, you're creating, you're loving others, you're not selfish. So it's the opposite of.
Yeah, so you have fight or flight, and then rest and recovery. And then you're in fight or flight when you're in a primal state, because sometimes you got to be in a primal state. If somebody's attacking you, you got to be in a primal state. But if you live your life in a primal state all the time, you begin to manifest disease,
right,
manifest illness,
yeah,
and you don't create the life that you want because you're not in a creative state. You're in a low vibration,
yeah,
as Claudia said. Yeah. So the way you, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think also you don't recognize, obviously knowing from one being powerful and the other one being primal, you don't recognize that it's like an actual feeling that you're feeling. You don't ever like sit with your, like, or like when you're experiencing some kind of feeling, like really like analyze the feeling, like what exactly am I feeling right now? Sometimes at least for me, it was hard to do that.
Well, that's one of the things he teaches, is that how often are you living in a primal state to where you don't even know it?
Yeah, you think it's normal.
Right. It is normal for you.
Yeah.
But it's not normal. It's just normal for you because there's a lot of stress in life. And then we have our limiting beliefs, which we'll get into in a minute.
That's also very true, but I just don't think that it's like that stressful. Like, I just think like we over dramatic everything, And you stay in that state where it's primal, even though it wasn't like a big deal.
That's my point. My point is we create our reaction to the stimulus, which puts us in the primal state.
Right.
So it's our thinking that puts us in the primal state, not the actual event.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
that's what he taught us.
So you have two states of being. You have the primal state and you have the powerful state. And we all go in between at different times, but you can't be in both at the same time. You're in one or the other. So if most people will get a bill, they'll look at it, it'll put them in a primal state because they'll begin to worry about how that's going to affect the rest of the month, how they're going to be able to afford it. Can they afford their food and their bills? That's a common worry for a lot of people to have. But then there's some people who don't care about money because they don't have limiting beliefs around it. They have lots of money and they get a bill and it doesn't bother them. So that's the same bill, but it's two different people handling it differently.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes you can be in a powerful state in one area of your life, but then be in a primal state in another area of your life.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you live life like that, thinking that it's okay to be in that state, you know, because you think that, oh, I'm not always unhappy. I'm not always depressed. I'm happy sometimes. Like, so then it's like you're in this wave of like that. You think that it just becomes normal to be in that chaotic, you know, emotion up and down, that you don't realize that it's just not the way. That's not you're supposed to be.
No, you're living in a limited way.
Yeah.
You can't grow and create fully in a primal state.
Right.
In a state of survival. So what you use these states of being for is direction. So the feelings that you feel, that you get based upon a situation, will tell you your beliefs about it. When you feel jealousy, anger, stress, you can change the way you're thinking in the moment and acknowledge that this is a primal state, that this is a limiting belief, and then you can make a better decision. It's called an empowering decision. So for me, I've been a coach for 12 years, but I've done it in person, not online. So one of my limiting beliefs has been, I'm not a good online coach. And then I realized that I have been coaching people online for a very long time, getting results, whether they be professional athletes, CEOs, moms, dads, kids. I've been able to coach people in all areas. And the evidence is that I'm actually a really good coach, and that my limiting belief is that I'm not a good coach. So now that I have changed my decision, my belief, into that I'm a really good coach, it's allowed me to think of different ways to make money online, which has made me feel invigorated. Yeah. And those feelings have led to new actions, new partnerships, and even this YouTube video.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's going to create new results.
Yeah.
You have 5 primary drivers. These 5 primary drivers is what your life is built upon. So the first one is belief. The second one is thoughts. Your beliefs lead to your thoughts. Your thoughts then lead to your feelings. Your feelings lead to your actions, and your actions dictate your results, which then reinforce that belief. So if we want to change our results, we have to go back to first principles and change the belief. So if I believe I'm a great coach, then I have the confidence to go out and ask people to hire me. If I believe that I can't make it online, then I don't have the confidence to ask people to hire me. As simple as that sounds, that's the main thing that's keeping me back. It's not the clients, because people want to spend money. People want to get results.
Ourselves.
People need help. Right, it's ourselves. And the same thing with her. She said that she didn't feel like she was a good businesswoman, but then I said, you've been in business 10 years and you make $150,000 a year without a high school diploma. That sounds like you're a good businesswoman.
Yeah.
And she doesn't feel successful. That sounds like you're successful. Can you be more successful? Of course.
Yes.
And that's what we need to begin to figure out. What do we want?
Right.
I think the biggest thing that I learned in this living experience, powerful living experience, is you got to know what you want.
Yeah, you have a clarity. And we don't know what we want. We know what we don't want, but we never think.
What we don't want.
Yeah, we never think about what we really want. What do we want?
Yeah.
I mean,
try to write down the perfect day of your life, and you'll end up writing out a lot of things you're already doing.
Yeah, like you can't see yourself outside of what you're already doing. Like it's just not really like.
You can,
you
but
can,
you have
but
to
it's
train
like,
it.
but you have to get very creative, and you have to like get very big imagination.
You have to do the reps.
Yeah.
The first day I wrote a lame ass perfect day. Second day was a little better. Third day was a little better. Now I'm starting to be like, do I really want that, or do I want this? And instead of worrying about how can I do it, I begin to say, this is what I want. This is why I know I can get it. I'm grateful for what I have right now. That gives me the energy to push forward and ask the right questions. Who do I partner with? Who do I talk to? Who do I market to? And don't worry about what happens after that, because the questions will lead to the actions.
Yeah.
It helps you create an action plan. For example, she wanted $20,000 a month as her first big goal. When then we really thought about it, why do you want $20,000 a month? She said, because I want to make $1 million. And I said, all right, well, let's just start with $1 million instead of worrying about $20,000 a month. If we could have anything we want, we might as well go for $1 million.
Go big.
Go big, yeah. Which is probably not big enough.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
But the first limiting belief that she had is that it's hard to make $1 million. So then we said, well, is it? Is it really hard? Because some people can make it at the press of a button.
Right.
Some people make it every day just on interest. So it's not really hard. Roofing is hard. MMA fighting is hard. Making $1 million is easy.
It's easy.
She said it's impossible. That was what she said. Literally, it's impossible. Yet people make $1 million every day. Well,
I guess when you don't have it, you know.
No,
you think
it's a limiting belief.
Exactly.
We're highlighting limiting beliefs.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with you thinking that. We all think that way.
Yeah.
So it's impossible. When we know it's not, we know it is possible. People do it every day. We know it's not hard. So it's possible. It's not hard. Then I'm not smart enough. You don't have to be smart to make $1 million.
Right. There are thousands of people not smart on
and you are smart enough to make $1 million. What's the opposite of not smart enough to make $1 million? You are smart enough to make $1 million. Everybody watching this video is smart enough to make $1 million. But if you don't think you are, then you're not. Right, exactly. And the fourth limiting belief that she had is that she doesn't have the right idea to make $1 million. Well, you don't need to come up with the idea. The idea will come to you. So now we understand that making $1 million isn't hard. It's definitely not impossible. You and me are all smart enough to do it, and there's plenty of ideas on how to make $1 million.
Plenty.
So those are the new supporting, empowering decisions around her decision to not know how, not know when, but to make $1 million.
Right.
Now that you're equipped with that, you can begin to look at things differently. Now you know, instead of thinking I'll never do it, I can do it. So now you start to look for ways to do it. You start to look for connections and coincidences that will match up. So whereas you might have talked to somebody who has multi-millions of dollars before and not ever broached the subject of business, now you're thinking, man, maybe this could be a business partnership for me. Maybe I can create $1 million worth of value with this person. And then you begin to look at your life in a way where you're grateful, not just for what you have, but for what's coming. I think this is the biggest one right here.
Yeah.
If you take anything away from this video, it's that instead of being scared of what might come, be grateful for what is coming.
Yeah, and excited.
Because we use our imagination to worry about what's going to happen at the end of the month. We're not going to have enough bills.
Yeah.
I'm going to be stressed out. I'm going to be sick in a couple years if I don't lose this weight.
Total fear.
Yeah, you're in a primal state.
Yeah.
You're not in a
So
powerful
what's going
state.
to come? Fear. More of what you're...
More of what you're imagining.
Yeah.
So gratitude is not just for the moment, and it should be highlighted how far you've come so you don't compare yourself to somebody else and then feel bad. Feel good about what you've done, and then feel good about what's coming because you're feeling good about what you have and you're doing the work. You're changing your beliefs to empowering decisions.
Right. Only good can come from that.
Only good can come from that. It's 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah.
Right. And then once you have that energy, that gratitude for what's coming and the beliefs, the empowering decisions that you're making, you can begin to have a clarity of what you really want in life. And that goes back to what we said in the beginning. You got to figure out what it is you want. And once you have that clarity, now you can begin to ask the right questions. Who can I talk to about building a business? Can you let her out, please? And then once you have clarity, now you're going to ask the questions you need to ask to get the result that you want. So what are some of your empowering questions now that you know what you want?
Yeah, so once I know what I want, then I can say, who do I need to talk to set up this project that I want to do? What is the best day and time I can work on this? You know, it's just things that I'm not ever like, it's new to me. So I need to know, like, and those are valid things that I think about, like, when would that be the good time to do this? Because I'm so used to doing everything like on a pattern kind of thing. So it's like, to get out of that, to do something new, it's like you think that you don't have the time, but you do. You just got to make the time.
Right. Yeah, and that's what it comes down to, is directing your energy to what you want versus what you don't want. And then that creates a new result, which enforces that belief that $1 million is easy to make, and then more action, inspired action towards it, and you have this new cycle instead of the old cycle.
Right.
And I think that was what we really got out of the 3 days, was that we have to know what we want, and then we have to change our limiting beliefs to empowering decisions. Then we have to attain clarity. And then once we have clarity and empowering decisions, and we really have thought about what we want, now we can ask the right questions, not the wrong questions, not the questions where, why am I a failure? Why does things never work out for me? Instead, now we're asking, who do I talk to? What is the best route for me to take today to reach my goal?
Right.
And now you're putting time back into your life, because you're not wasting it focusing on what you don't want.
Yeah. Actually working towards your goal, not somebody else's goal.
So how would you rate the Powerful Living experience for them if they ever wanted to attend? Would you recommend it?
I would definitely recommend it. 10 out of 10. From a person like me who was always like uncomfortable doing things like that, and thinking like, how can this? First of all, I had a lot of resistance. And then now, like, seeing the person that I was the day that I started the program, that we did the seminar, to the person that I am today, coming back after you doing the whole seminar.
You're literally on video. She would never be on video.
Yeah, never. Never. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but I think that also doing it with someone else, like, helped a lot.
Yeah, because then you can bounce ideas back and forth.
Yeah, you're not doing it alone. It's so easy just to give up when you do it on your own.
Yeah, especially if nobody else is supporting you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why it's important to be on the Facebook group, even though we're not on it enough.
Yeah.
And also be supportive of other people. And then this way you guys can push and pull each other up, because this is the work that all of us need to be doing.
Yeah.
It'll fix your relationships, because
powerful.
if your relationships are good, it'll make them better. If you're making good money, it'll help you make more money. If you are overweight, it'll help you lose weight.
Yeah.
It's just a way to look at all areas of your life, see what is limiting you in your consciousness and your own belief structure, and then begin to change it little by little.
Yeah.
So I would recommend attending.
Yeah, for sure.
But I would say that it was a little salesy. I felt like there was a lot of sales pitches, which I understand it's a business and it can actually change people's lives.
Yeah.
But I felt like I needed a little bit more information from the staff on what the tools could do, and how to implement them could be the program. But I felt like there was a limited amount of training. So if somebody had never been there before, they might not have got much out of it. If you've been familiar with the work, like I went into it pretty familiar, reading the book, I kind of saw that I could have got the same thing from the book. I was hoping for some more personal insights and approaches to the way the information was taught.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I didn't think it was a great experience.
Yeah.
That's just could be my limiting belief, you know?
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion, and I'm happy that we went. We also invested in the program, the legendary program, which is a $30,000 a year program.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we really wanted to put pressure on ourselves and know that we're investing in ourselves to grow, and it's already paying dividends.
Yeah, and I think that's the word that you just used, is what they do to you. They put pressure on you. And because I think that if they wouldn't, not a lot of people would do it. It's a lot of money.
For sure.
And
but then again, is it a lot of money? It's a lot of money if you're broke. But if you got 30 mil, it ain't nothing.
Yeah.
So if you want 30 mil, you can't treat 30,000 like it's a lot of money.
Yeah, and I also it's true, and I also like to think that they push it because they know it really works.
For sure.
You know,
I agree.
It works.
I agree.
If even if it doesn't like take you, you're not a millionaire or anything. Like it's just going to take you to the next level in certain aspects of your life, and you know, things that you thought that you couldn't do, you can do.
Yeah, and
you are possible.
Yeah, and you'll end up either dying with that money in a savings account, or you'll spend that money on dumb shit.
Yeah.
Might as well invest in yourself.
In your growth. Yeah.
So that's pretty much our review of the Powerful Living Experience. We'll keep you guys updated on our progress. My goal is to build a 6-figure online coaching business where I help firefighters manage stress, improve sleep, and live past 57. But that's a whole other podcast we'll be talking about. So I hope you guys stick around, follow us on our journey. And if you have any questions or you need some help with coaching, we're here for you. Bye.
Bye-bye.